Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
Well, thank you very much. Wow, I'm saying thank you very much for such a healthy platform where my esteemed professors and I am quite excited to be part of this beautiful conversation, and I'm not going to labor you with the weeping and crying session of what the white man has done, what the colonialists have done, what the Western world is doing, and political parties that are in power but not in control, economic stability, and quite a number of issues are coming up while we are conversing. I would like to focus my attention particularly to the young people who are aspiring politicians. I would like to pitch my conversation to the young minds who have the ability to walk into spaces of governance and be able to make impact, to transform the system. The system was never designed to make Africans shareholders and owners. It was designed to make Africans workers, slaves, and employees. And every time you hear a politician saying they want to create more employment, you must know that they are a criminal, because we don't want employment. We want ownership. We want ownership of the means of production. We want to own our economy. Any political party that is sponsored from outside of itself subjects itself to the powers that are sponsoring that party. State capture happens before state capture. State capture is economic support during elections and then policy management during terms of office. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to take you back to the 7 pillars of farmers of thought. The 7 pillars speak of, number 1, governance. How are we governing ourselves? Who writes the governance structures? From whence your constitution is founded upon? Half of Africa, if not 3/4 of Africa, if not all of Africa, is running under the Roman Dutch law. The Roman Dutch law already has a definition of where this law is coming from. Coming from Netherlands, from the Dutch, it's coming from the Romans. And when you speak about the Romans right now, you're not talking about Rome. There's no country called Rome. Rome includes the entire Europe. These are the Swabians, the Germans. These are the Anglo-Saxons, the British. These are the Alemannians. These are the Burgundians. These are the Italians. And the entire European space is a breakaway of the Roman Empire of Julius Caesar into the 10 kingdoms, which later on broke through the Catholic Church, destroyed the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, and the Herulids, to remain the 7 major kingdoms that are running Europe right now. That is Rome.
There is no country called Rome?
There's no country called Rome except the Roman Catholic Church, which is the Vatican. But Rome, as we have it, historically speaking, speaks of the 7 kingdoms that broke away from Julius Caesar. And that includes what you might want to call now the European Union. And then the Dutch being the mother god of the Caucasians from the mountains of Europe, there where the white people actually, that is the purest race of the white people, who are the Dutch themselves and the Caucasians. Now when we look at the Roman Dutch law, if you are educated in the room and you are trained to be a lawyer, you must find this small little word they call domicile. Domicile means address. And once you talk about a law being called Roman and Dutch law, you need to find the place where is Rome and where is Dutch. And why are the laws of Deutschland and Roman land having authority over African land? So the first thing is that even that law is misplaced, because within that law comes issues of land ownership. Who must own the land according to the law? The question is, whose law is it? What is marriage in that law? What are rights in that law? Who has authority to own minerals in that law? Property rights are in that law. So until you begin to understand as young politicians that you go to parliament not to become part of the neo-colonialistic estate which continuously promotes our constitution. And I will say it publicly, this is my main bone of contention with Malema. Because Malema talks about our economy, he talks about our constitution, he talks about the rule of law. But until you understand whose law is it in the first place, are you talking about? Whose economy is it are you talking about? So we need to firstly teach the young politicians, you need to transform your own governance systems and reinstate what I might want to call indigenous governance methodologies and systems. Study hard to find how can the African rule and govern themselves. In the midst of governing themselves, our traditional indigenous monarchs and royalties who are the custodians of land are the safest place where we must keep our land. Because our land in the hands of the multinationals will constantly become a prostitution center of Western investments which displace the Africans away from their own resources. So that constitution, governance, speaks of the means of production. If you are a government and you don't have land, you are wasting people's time. Because the Ministry of Lands needs land. The Ministry of Forestation needs land. The Ministry of Fisheries needs land. The Ministry of Agriculture needs land. The Ministry of Mining needs land. The Ministry of Roads needs land. The Ministry of Housing needs land. The Ministry of Water needs land. If you don't have land, what are you governing? And that concept of understanding the Eurocentric colonization on governance needs to be understood by a young student. You cannot change a country until you change the form and means of governance. Number two, agriculture speaks of food security. We are not poor, we are not hungry as Africans. Except that we are planting what we are not eating, and we are eating what we are not planting. You cannot be planting coffee and planting tea and planting tobacco and say our economy is doing well because we're planting tobacco. Who eats tobacco? Now you're going to sell your tobacco to America, as Zimbabwe, and they give you money, and before you reach home, you must go via other countries and buy food to come and feed your people. Then what were you doing with your land? Planting flowers, planting cocoa. We need to start understanding that our poverty...
Bishop, in Uganda, the three main cash crops were coffee, cotton, and cocoa. And we were very, very happy.
Who eats cotton? Because I'm not saying we must not plant cotton.
Yeah, but you must plant that after planting food.
Food security, every home must have 13 trees of mangoes, 13 trees of avocados, 13 rows of bananas. Plant your food. Then the rest of the land, you can plant other things that you can sell. Because in the midst of that, we begin to talk about organic food versus GMO foods. Until we are able to feed ourselves as Africans, plant on our grounds what we can eat, we're going to spend lots of time talking about an economy. And this economy is founded on foods that we can consume. And I'm glad I was there in Uganda last month and I spoke to Professor Wahene, and we were speaking these issues. Food security, agriculture must not be...
You spoke to Kyagukanyi.
Yeah. We're not just talking about planting food. We're talking about how do we secure our stomachs. Ladies and gentlemen, a hungry stomach does not know politics. A hungry stomach does not know politics. You can slogan as much as you want, but as long as you are hungry, there's no political system that can assist you to do that. So agriculture speaks of the culture of food, how we manage hunger, and we need to go back to organic foods, small seeds. We were alive before colonialism came here. We are not going to be alive after they leave us here. Let's go back in terms of planning that which we can eat. Governance, how we rule ourselves. Agriculture, how we feed ourselves. Business and economics, how we do business on the continent. It is illegal right now in Zimbabwe to be found carrying a diamond. It's illegal to be found carrying gold. It's illegal to be found carrying precious minerals. And you go take those laws and say, who wrote those laws? When were these laws written? By who? For who? You find that those policies were written in 1946, 1931 by a group of white people. Right now, a Ugandan person cannot access minerals. You'll be arrested. Why? Because the policy and the law says you cannot do that. But how do you then go to parliament and you vote and you raise your hand to become a faithful member of the parliament to protect a constitution which oppresses you? We need to transform the language of business. We need to transform the language of agriculture. We need to transform the language of governance. Number 4, we need to transform the language of education. All of you who are educated, you are educated to forget yourself. The more you become, the more irrelevant you become. Libraries in Makerere University right now are full of dissertations. Dr. So-and-so, Professor so-and-so, Dr. so-and-so. But yet you cannot even manufacture a toothpick. A toothpick. A whole department of engineering, a whole department, and not solve the water crisis in Uganda, and make Lake Victoria, the Sese Islands, and make Uganda the biggest exporter of fresh water in the whole world, when water is such a scarce commodity. Fresh water.
Teach Maponga, teach.
Educated but unlearned. You have gone through school, but school has not gone through you. Education. What are you learning? What are you studying? Are you studying to become an employee, or you are studying to have solutions for your community? So we need to start looking at the colonial system is not producing owners, inventors, innovators, entrepreneurs, developers. It's producing employees. And here we are running on the streets like in South Africa. We want more employment. We want more employment. You'll never see white people talking about employment. They're talking about ownership. And the problem we have is education. You go to school, and the biggest document you write after you finish school, I hereby apply for a job. I am a team player. I work under pressure. What rubbish is that? That you spend 25 years. I have gone through that same system myself. 25 years. 7 years primary school.
So you are abusing yourself.
4 years high school and etc. 4 years undergraduate, 3 years postgraduate, and etc. 25 years of learning. And when you are applying for a job, they're asking, where is your experience? For crying out loud, where the hell do you think I get experience from? You've been locking me up in your buildings here for the past 25 years. Where do I get experience from? Our form of education, we cannot be studying about other people when we know nothing about ourselves. Our history must look back where we are coming from. And then we'll know where we are. Maybe we may know where we are going. Number 5. Sports and entertainment. How do we enter and attain ourselves? Who enters into us and what do they attain out of it? We've been given false images of success, false images of progress, false images of development. We want to develop Africa. We're going to build buildings, put concrete buildings. Go to London, you can't even drink water from the Thames River. Even a dog will die. Is that the development we're looking at? Making Africa another concrete jungle? What quality of food are we going to eat in that concrete jungle? What quality of air are we going to breathe in that concrete jungle? What quality of water are we going to be drinking in that concrete jungle? If development is not a way of ecological intelligence, it's destruction. Ecological intelligence. We cannot be talking of developing Uganda and Kampala and destroying the wetlands. Now Kampala is drowning in water, but people have beautiful houses. How stupid can you be? That nature must teach you that some places you don't put houses, because these are wetlands that protect the environment and handle the water issues.
You are speaking as if the spirits of Africa have actually attacked you from Kampala, because just yesterday but one, some buildings in the wetlands were destroyed and people are here crying in Kampala. A number of buildings in the wetland were destroyed.
We don't need to be stupid. We don't need to be stupid under the pretext that we are getting to be developing. We are building 6, 7, 10 room house. Your house with beautiful paint and a good patio. You are building a Tuscan house. And you are building that house where water walks and water protects the rest of the people. So what are you doing exactly? Our form of progress must not be infatuated with the destruction of nature. We are the water that we drink. We are the grass that we eat. We are the air that we breathe. If we don't protect those three elements, which I call the trinity of life, water, land, and air, nature will come back to teach you the painful lesson of how it preserves you. You must also preserve it and protect it. Last but not least, health and technology. How do we manage our health? How do we manage our technologies? Our technologies and our health and COVID gave all of us a wake-up call that our pharmaceutical companies are not interested in our health because our sickness is their business. Yes. You will be stupid as a pharmaceutical company to heal people. Because every time you heal a person, you've lost a customer.
We must not get healing from the pharmaceuticals.
Keep the people sick. While you're fixing ulcers, create high blood pressure. While you're fixing high blood pressure, create fibroids. While you're creating birth control, make sure that you mess up reproduction and etc. And you guys as Africans, you act as if you're stupid. As if our grandfathers and grandmothers did not know how to look after their own health. We need to start thinking as Africans. How are we being controlled using the health and technology? 5G is being spoken about right now. Technology. 5G. Yes, more Wi-Fi, more radiation, more technology than the country is developing. Because but we must look at the impact of these technological advancements. What are they doing to the quality of life? If development means longevity of life, how come when our lifespan has dropped from 120 years to 45 to 30 years? Why are we dying younger if we are more developed? Why are we all sick while we say we are developed? Development must not undermine indigenous knowledge systems, IKS. What is it that our forefathers used to do that made them live longer? And we cannot be a developed African state if we don't have healthy people. What's the use of development if we are going to fill up our own land graveyards? Young boys and girls who are dying before they even reach the age of 30 in the midst of development. Our health is our wealth. Without good health, even the richest man is poor. Finally, spirituality. Number 7.
Teach Maponga, teach.
Spirituality. For us to practice spirituality, we need our land where we can access our health. We need our air where we can breathe. We need our mountains where we can walk. We need our rivers where we can go and bath. Without access to these resources, the African cannot practice his spirituality. African spirituality is not going to church on a Sunday, where you lock up your God in a building and you see him next week same time. Spirituality is a constant, continuous appreciation of life as you interact with your soil, with your water,
with nature.
Now hear me as I'm concluding. While we are talking about South Africa and the political union, the question is, what does this union talk about the water of South Africa? 60%, I worked in the Department of Water Affairs, 60% of all the water in South Africa is in private farms, and these are white farms.
60% of South Africa's water bodies are in the hands of the white people.
Private farms.
Private farms. And those private farms are owned by the white people.
Put that on the record. It's a fact.
So they own the water.
Even if you say you want to chase away the Africans, they can pollute and poison all those lands. And half of South Africa, if not three quarters, will die overnight. So don't even talk about taking land. When you don't know what is on the land and how much you depend on the system which has made itself what it is right now. So while we're talking about the union of DA and ANC, first question, what are they saying about water? Number two, what are they saying about land? That is the elephant in the room, which South Africa does not want to talk about. They keep on saying the very same old story. Be careful, you will become another Zimbabwe. You will become another Zimbabwe. If you take away land, we are going to do what we did to Zimbabwe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hold your seat very tight. Zimbabwe, right now, our exchange rate to the American dollar is $1 to 13 Zimbabwean Z. Africa is 1 to 18. You can calculate the rest. In the southern hemisphere right now, as we are talking, we have the strongest currency in the south.
Uganda, $1 is equivalent to 3,800.
Welcome to the party. We were there. We used to be 1,800,000. We even printed 10 million, 20, 1 trillion. We were there, my brother. We fell to the ground. But until Africans understand the difference between short-term problems, medium-term problems, long-term problems, short-term solutions, medium-term solutions, and long-term solutions, you will constantly think that the union between DA and ANC is a good thing. Yes, it's a very good thing in the short term. Medium-term, long-term, I wonder. Because DA is with ANC to make sure that MK and EFF don't come close to discussing land in Parliament. Don't even mention it. ANC is in power, but ANC is not in control. Because once you touch land, you are touching the banks. Because this is surety. All the loans they've given out, they gave them at the backdrop that the person whom they gave the money to owns the land. Now the government comes and takes the land away from them. The banking system will collapse. That's a fact. The insurance companies will collapse. That's a fact. The farming industry will collapse, and that's a fact. But the question is, will it collapse into the right hands, or it will collapse into useless hands? Unfortunately, South Africans don't have a relationship with their land. They grew up in Soweto, in Tanzania, in Cape Town, drinking Cremora and tea. They don't even have homes in the rural areas. Where you come from? I come from Soweto. Where you come from? I come from Seshego. Where you come from? I come from Bombela. I come from Tanzania.
At where is your home village?
I love it when I come to Uganda to find that every Ugandan has a village.
Yes.
They have a home.
Yes.
They go home over the weekend, go and take food and bring it to town.
Yes.
South Africans, they go home to the location, and that is home for them. So even if you give the South Africans land, honestly speaking, and I say this from a very painful place in my heart, they will not even know what to do with the land.
Bishop Maponga, they will kill the land and supply people with food.
They will sell the land back to the white people in less than 2 weeks. My brother is here from Azania.
Azania?
He can correct me if I'm wrong. He can correct me if I'm wrong.
Mr. Ricardo?
He can correct me if I'm wrong. That even if you should give away land, yes, maybe some of the commercial land in town, a few of the South Africans may put a building, put a shopping mall, put a garage here and there. But when you talk about land utilization as a nation, I think South Africa for the past 100 years, they've lost the DNA of the land. And you cannot practice spirituality without water. You can't practice African spirituality without land. You can't practice spirituality without clean air. Having said that, therefore, it is important for young academicians, young political leaders, when you get yourselves into spaces of power and influence, the question is, what do you do with the governance? What do you do with the business and economics? What do you do with the education curriculum? Do you still want to teach your children William Shakespeare? Oliver Twist? Do you still want to teach each other about Charles Dickens and the history of the Charlemagnes and the Bolshevik Wars?
Mussolini.
What do you do with your education, your entertainment, sports and recreation? You still want to promote soccer and cricket and basketball? As if your Africans don't have their own sports that you used to. What do you do with entertainment? That's your TVs. Are you still constantly going to be seeing white people shooting black people on TV? Because the first thing you see in a movie, if a black man is there, is to kill the black man before the movie then starts. That's not the subject of the storyline. You will remain as footnotes in your own storyline. What are you going to do with your health as Africans? What will you do with your technology? And ultimately, what will the African do with his spirituality? On spirituality, I would start a lecture from scratch. If the Chinese had colonized Uganda, all of you right here, you would have been Buddhists. If the Indians and the Arabs, we thank God for Idi Amin, who chased Muslims out of Uganda. All of you right now will be Allah, salam alaikum, inshallah, inshallah. But because you were colonized by the British, you call yourself Christian. Now listen to me. This is an academic platform.
Teach Maponga.
This is an academic platform, not a religious organization. So I'll say it clear. You cannot become what you are not. You cannot say, I became a Christian. How do you become a Christian when you haven't done it? And there's no way a master and a slave can pray to the same God. Those gods are not the same. In the midst of our political discourse, what is happening in South Africa? Yes, the best solution for me would have been ANC swallow the bitter pill. Go and shake hands with Jacob Zuma. He's your brother. Go and shake hands with EFF. He's your son. Go and shake hands with PAC. They are your cousin. Black people come together and keep DA as an opposition party, rather than making DA the ruling party. And those that have the agenda for the Africans remain on the outside as opposition party. The question is, what is ANC doing? The only thing I can talk about, ANC has become the bride of DA, a faithful wife who will be managed for the next 5 years. And take it from me and put it on record. We are going to see the greatest number of ANC top officials within the party, outside of the party, in the business community, all of them making their way to the courts to be arrested for corruption. Because DA wants to establish itself as a cleaner, as a moral compass for the African. All he is looking for is water, is electricity, and a clean road. And right now the South African does not care who is in power, as long as their electricity and their water and their infrastructure is running. Unfortunately, ANC has been doing too much of politicking and sloganeering, sitting at the helm of government and not delivering basic services. If anyone should take this video to ANC, I want to challenge ANC. Go back to the drawing board. Get the services back to the people. Get services back to the people. If you don't take this instruction seriously, in less than 5 years, we will bury ANC the way we buried the other party in Ghana, which was a liberating party. This, for me, is free information. But we needed to start thinking, what are the people looking for, and how best we meet the requirements and the demands of all of us. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for giving me these few moments. And you who are in Uganda, don't get infatuated with opposition parties. Go Bobi Wine and what. Wasting your time. You cannot be running into political systems if you don't understand the very same system you want to go and run. Ask Bobi Wine, what is he going to do about governance? If he says constitution, you know, some colonial constitution. If he says education, where is the curriculum? If he says business, where are the banks and insurance companies that are going to be opening, that are owned fully by Ugandans? And until we begin to understand those 7 pillars, young men, young boys and girls, my educated, learned friends, we will need to know how the pillars of colonialism and neo-colonialism are functioning, so that when we transform the system, we create for ourselves a parallel system that challenges the system that is running, and then we patronize our own system to challenge the system that is running. And until we can sponsor our politics from our own pockets, we will constantly be colonized by those who are donating money to us. Tell Bobi Wine to join the government and learn the system. Learn the system. Not make noise from outside, it's all or nothing. Learn the system and then change and transform the system. The same message I gave to Nelson Chamisa in Zimbabwe, the same message that I gave to Julius Malema. Get in there. Even MK right now, it's too late to complain about the election. Get into the government. Carry your agenda items with you and vote. Talk to other small parties and transform the system. Because until we understand that dogs eat meat, the European system is alive and well. Unfortunately, it is now being run by black people who are enemies to their own brothers and sisters and their allegiance to the colonial system. I thank you.